have been well trained.
No.
You don't have to carry a sword to be powerful.
I won't fail you.
Oh, do not.
I'm not afraid.
There is no try.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Chance Cube coverage of the 2018 World Championship of Star Wars Destiny. My name is Todd and in this video we're going to be watching the top 16 battle between Mike Gem on the right running eSabine, eEzra, and Jason Brame who is here running the camera. Okay, so it's not Jason. So we've got Mike on the right, we've got Gilbert Nevels on the left running eAurra, Mother Talzin. Wow, this is going to be fun. So I did a little bit of research on these guys right before we got in here. And the deck on the left, Gilbert's deck, can actually be found on swdestinydb.com. And it's listed as Buns and Guns Top 16 Worlds deck. And it's kind of cool because we know that Mike Gem has had to go through quite a few things, do quite a few different high meta decks to get where he is. But we don't really know, we haven't gotten to see Gilbert play yet. So let's look at what he did. Day one, he had lost to hero vehicles in the first round, but then went 5 straight against Rey Ayla, Thrawn Talzin, Obi Maz, Rey Ayla, Yoda Hondo. And then day two, lost to Yoda Hondo in the first round, and then played 2 more Yoda Hondos to get to the top 16 against Mike Gem here. So congratulations, Gilbert. You have done amazing. In looking over his deck list, I'm thinking he's probably looking for fast hands first. He's got armor plating, force illusion, holdout blasters, LL30s on the hunt, Relby V10 mortar gun. Now, the Relby mortar gun, I love that thing. Its ability to do damage to both your opponent's characters in this particular match. By paying a couple resources and removing the die showing a range damage, it works on the modifier side or the base damage side. So getting that extra damage off to be able to knock out a character and do damage to somebody else could be good, but honestly in this matchup, if you're doing 4 for 2, it doesn't feel as good. 3 for 2 would be okay on the mortar gun, but still, I think you're really trying to just get those free damage sides. If I'm looking at the different die sides on his dice, it looks like Holdout Blaster is really the only one that has a paid side, unless you count On the Hunt if you're trying to remove an opponent's die. He does have a couple of backup muscles in there. For removal, we've got Feel Your Anger, Frighten, High Ground, Mislead, 1/4 portion, Subdue, and Witch Magic. Subdue is interesting. It only works when you have somebody, when you have an opponent whose character has 3 or more damage. But you know what? That probably comes up a lot more often than we think it does. It's probably something we should look into if you're playing yellow villains. So we're getting ready to go here. It looks like eAurra Talzin is running the Frozen Waste to get rid of a character die. He anticipates to be fast, but I don't think he's going to be as fast as Mike on this one. Mike, of course, is running the Outer Rim Outpost, my personal favorite, to draw a card and get a resource. eEzra doing really well, being able to get the extra resource each round, and if he can claim, get the resource, and get his Maz's Vault out, that means he starts each round with 4 resources. He can basically play whatever and whenever he wants. So we get the roll off for the battlefield. Let's decide. Ooh, he gets a lot of blanks. Oh my goodness, 3 of them. So it looks like eAurra Talzin is going to pick the battlefield, and he does pick Mike's battlefield. He's looking for those shields early on. He knows that Sabine has the ability to get out there and just knock him down pretty quick. So he's definitely going to make sure that he gets a little extra health to be able to take him out. So this is going to be a best of 3. I have no idea how long this is going to be as far as the number of rounds. The video itself is just under an hour, so this is going to be, we're going to be in here for a little bit of a long haul. But don't worry, I am here to keep you company and keep things interesting because this game is so slow. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of something else. This is a very quick game, but it does take a lot of thought and a lot of preparation from the players to know exactly what they need to do and when they need to do it, to look at the options your opponent has, the options that you have, and really try to make the best decision possible. And you got to be willing to take your time on that. especially at this high of play. Your top 16, you know, the prizes, you get more and more as you go up every set that you win. So, over on Mike Gem on Bobby Sapphire's side, I found an equivalent deck. I don't think I found the exact one on the database, but I do know there are definitely some things that are staples in his deck. There's the DL44, Hidden Blasters, Holdout Blasters, X8 Snipers, Second Chance. I do know that Mike is running Moss's Fall and running Interference. He's definitely running Easy Pickings. I don't know. Entangle is another card that you run in there, but I don't know if he's running 1 or 2. I think he's got a couple of Hasty Exits in there. I know he's running 2 Hyperspace Jumps, that's for sure. Lothcat and Mouse, or Lothcat and Mouse. I think it's Lothcat, or it's not Lothcat, right? I just listened to another video where somebody called it something else, and now I'm confused. 2 Never Tell Me the Odds, 2 Truce, and then Vandalize. Now the Vandalize, he might only run 1 of, and the other ones you could probably run 1 of would be Impersonate and Into the Garbage Chute. I'm not exactly sure what the numbers are on Mike Gem's side of the table, but I definitely know he is looking for that really good removal suite, but he also wants to be able to have the situational removal with so many different types of removal that he has. The Impersonate, Into the Garbage Chute. Impersonate, I mean, you may not consider it removal, but it definitely is. When you move 6 damage from Sabine over to eEzra, that's painful. That's half the damage that your opponent has to do again to Sabine, on top of the second chances or whatever else you might be having going on. I can definitely see only running 1 Impersonate. It's not something that you want to have in your hand twice. It doesn't really work twice unless you try to put second chance on eEzra, healing back up to 5, and then try to Impersonate again. I think you only really get 1 use out of it, if any. So Impersonate's probably just a 1-off. Into the Garbage Chute is also good, but when you have a character who's your secondary that has 2 dice on them, having to exhaust them and losing those dice for the round can be pretty difficult to do. Sure, you're removing a couple of damage from your main character, which is great, but at the same time, you lose out on those dice, which could have been really valuable to you that round. In this case, you've got eEzra that has two range damage sides. He's got the resource stealing, the disrupt, the base damage, and then just plain resources. And even though he's got a lot of resource generation, Mike definitely can always use an extra resource or 2. We've seen it come really down to the wire sometimes and making sure he's got enough resources. And there we go. We see 3 damage up front, straight from eEzra. See, can you imagine losing out on that 3 damage to try to remove your opponent's damage? I'll tell you what, Into the Garbage Chute definitely can hurt sometimes. Or any of the cards that exhaust your characters in order to do something can be pretty difficult if you're running an elite version of a character. So we get the Holdout Blaster on Aurra Sing. So the 1 paid side that she does have, and she is going to roll out. Oh, we have Fast Hands as well. Interestingly, Mother Talzin works best when you have a lot of odd-costed cards in your deck, but already we see that there are quite a few even-numbered cards, so it's not going to be a sure thing that Gilbert is going to be able to get that focus off. But he definitely still does run a lot of single-cost cards, so that's definitely still an option. Interestingly, Mike playing the X8 Sniper on Sabine is not discarding it to reroll 0, which is the normal case, trying to get out there, get the ambush action, and just resolve dice, which he's definitely got a plan in mind, so let's see what he decides to do. He does roll out. He does not get the ambush action, though. So let's see. We roll out. We get a blank, a resource, and a +2, I believe. Oh, no, 2 resources and a blank on Aurra Sing. Now, interestingly, Aurra Sing can get the 2 resources for discarding a card, and he does. He takes 2 resources in order to possibly do some other fun things in just a minute here. We'll see what those resources are for. Mike has those 3 damage out there. Interestingly enough, eEzra doing more damage than Sabine this round. Definitely a story I've heard before. Tale as old as time. eEzra doing the 3 damage into Aurra Sing. Aurra Sing is definitely the powerhouse in that deck. Let's see. Mother Talzin rolls out, gets a discard and a resource. He's swimming in money. Looks like he flipped over. I did just miss it. But it doesn't look... It looks like it was another even-colored card, so it doesn't matter. Only odd-colored cards matter. We get a discard to reroll, and... Looks like we had a die that needed to be re-rolled. Looks like it just slipped out of his hand or something, and he's trying to roll them into the dice tray to make sure that everybody can see that there are no shenanigans, that he's not covering the dice or anything. He rolls them into the tray, and it lets everybody see exactly what's going on. Looks like we got the 3-for-1 on the X8 Sniper. We got a 3-for-1 Disrupt and a Resource for Sabine. So, Resource liking the Sabine... Oh, sorry. Sabine liking the Resource. To be able to get that 3 damage off. If he can get 6 damage off turn 1 to E'Arra Sing, that's a really good turn for a Sabine eEzra. That's not bad at all. All right, we see the Loth Cat and Mouse. So Gilbert having the choice of what he's going to do. He could absolutely get rid of the ranged damage, but I think what I do is actually get rid of that resource. And the reason I get rid of the resource, if you remove the range damage, he could take the resource and disrupt all that money that you just made. But if you take away the resource, then he cannot pay for the X8 Sniper, and he cannot pay for the 3-for-1 on Sabine's die. But he is the professional. He removes the... Ooh, that's spicy. He actually removes the Disrupt. Okay, all right. Let's see what he does with that. All right, so we get the 3 damage onto Sabine. He takes a resource, so now he's got that 3 damage side. It's very possible that Gilbert could have anticipated that, he probably already has the other resource, and that, or if he, I'm sorry, I think that Gilbert was probably thinking that Mike could have the truce in hand, which would give him the resource anyway. So removing the Disrupt allowed him to make sure that there was no way that he could be disrupted that round, because he's got 4 resources going into the next round, and this is going to be fantastic. So again, this is the top 16 of the World Championship. We've got only 3 more sets of games after this one, and it's going to be pretty massive. Luckily, the Chance Cube was in just the right place at the right time to be able to record 3 of these games, so definitely keep coming back for more. We see that Mike actually discarded one of his Lothcats, I think. Or, no, I think Gilbert was probably just checking his discard pile to see what was in there. He rolls out E'Arra Sing, having claimed the previous round. So he actually is starting with 5 resources here, having claimed and been able to draw a card before. We see a 1 range, plus 2 range, and a blank. So he could get that 1 range off onto Sabine by increasing the value, and he does. He discards a Fast Hands. You definitely only need 1 of those to be able to get 2 damage onto Sabine. He is really trying to knock Sabine down as quick as possible. You really want to get him before he can get that second chance down. But it looks like, I think I just saw a flash of second chance. Yep, right there in Mike's hand. He's got the second chance. He overwrites the X8 Sniper to do that, and that's going to enable him to do the ambush shenanigans of Sabine in the beginning of the next round. Looks like Mike Gem was probably worried in the previous round, if we want to just rewind a little bit. He's probably worried about the Disrupt on E'Arra Sing with Fast Hands, which could be why he decided to play that upgrade on Sabine and not do the shenanigans. He did not want to lose those resources, so that was definitely an interesting and a good play, thinking about what your opponent could have. I have definitely heard some reports from the World Championship of our eTalzin players resolving the disrupt sides on E'Arra's die and increasing them by discarding a card, so they're getting a 2 disrupt just to be able to get rid of so much money. So he's able to play the X8 Sniper. He has the money to be able to do it. He had the leftover money from the last from the Maz's Vault, and then he has the running interference whenever he feels like he wants it. He rolls out, and I think that's a shield and a couple of resources. With the ambush action, he discards to re-roll. Sabine's die doing really good sometimes, and sometimes just kind of letting you down. And there's another example of letting him down. 2 blanks and a 2 range plus 2 on the X8 Sniper. So we see the Mother Towson getting ready to roll out. He's leaving the... Gilbert's definitely leaving the plus 2 range out there. He gets the On the Hunt, so he is going to be able to turn one of his dice, and he is definitely going to turn that E'Arra into that 2 range damage. Although he may be thinking about... Okay, so he does turn, I believe, to the 2. And now, while that can be dangerous, okay, so we see the truce. He gets the 1, so that he could do the easy pickings. Oh, he's going to enter the garbage chute. Okay, so he exhausts the eEzra. eEzra did the work last round, but he's not going to be doing the work this round. He's going to jump into the garbage chute to avoid some damage. And that was a lot of damage that he avoided there. My understanding is that that was easily 5 damage that he just removed. So you could try to do up to 4 damage with modifiers on eEzra, or you could just go ahead and take away the 5. And I think taking away the 5 was definitely the way to go, especially with how much damage was on Sabine. That would have been popping the second chance on Sabine. Sabine does get the 3 range, I believe, so he can use that modifier. He's got the 5. He's going to 1/4 portion. He's going to give Mike a resource to take away the damage side. So now he's stuck with a shield and a +2 modifier on range for the X8 sniper. He ends up claiming. Now, this is something interesting I've just become acquainted with, is claiming while you still have stuff in the field. We see the backup muscle come in, and so we've got 9 damage on Sabine. So we just need a couple more to pop that second chance. So a lot of damage going through, but not a lot going on to Gilbert's side of the table. So on damage, we've got eAurra sitting at 4 damage and Sabine at 9. The other 2 characters are full health. eTalzin has even got a shield. Oh man, this is going to be interesting. We've got the backup muscle. Ooh, this is going to be fun. I'm really having fun here. I hope you guys are as well. So now we're starting the next round. Interestingly enough, Gilbert not spending money last round except for that one single 1/4 portion. So now he begins this round with 6 resources. If he can find that Relby mortar gun, that thing is going down on his characters immediately. I kid you not. All right, so he looks through the discard pile. Looks like we see, I think I saw a Vandalize there. It was discarded by Mike. We see the other Maz's Vault has already come through, so Mike is happy to see that Maz's Vault get cycled so that he's able to keep on moving through his deck to get those other ambush weapons. And he does have other ambush weapons in his discard pile. Let's see what he's got. Oh, Hidden Blaster. So he's able to remove a shield if he just so remembers. Mother Talzin has a shield, and sure enough, Mike is the pro. He's at the top 16 at Worlds. What am I talking about if he remembers? Of course they're going to remember. These guys never make mistakes, right? Nah, I'm sure everybody does, but you know what? These guys are the best players in the world. If they're making a mistake, that means I made about 5. All right, so we get the Sabine rolling out, and does she get to do Sabine things? We see the 3-for-1 and the 1, so that's 4 damage. Not lethal on our Singh, but definitely interesting. We see 2 hyperspace jumps in Mike's hand. We see the other running interference, I believe. So what's he going to do? Is he going to take the damage, or is he going to go ahead and re-roll? You could take the damage now because it is base. The other dice that he has are both base damage, and they're free. So being able to just pay the damage and get the extra 4 on there. If he rolls a single damage side on either one of the Sabine die, that's a dead eAurra. Looks like Gilbert was waiting for just a minute to let Mike tell him which character he was attacking. Definitely a smart move sometimes, because occasionally your opponent will want to switch things up. That may or may not be good for you if they decide to do that, but either way, you want to make sure that your opponent instructs you which character to put the damage on, because sometimes they've got little tricky plays that they can do if you've got damage on both your characters. Cards like Battle Fatigue can come in really handy in red decks. Of course, neither one of these players is playing red, so not as good in this particular instance, but just be aware and keep aware of what's going on. So we do see the Disrupt. Ooh, Disrupt, and the special on the LL30, which turns one of your other dice to range damage. He discards to get rid of both of the resources. See, this is what I was talking about in that first round that Mike was probably anticipating. Luckily, we've had so much content from so many of the wonderful providers out there. Chance Cube definitely included there to give us some really awesome breakdowns of what happened during the World Championship. We'd see the other running interference discarded. Running interference after the errata, not quite as good as people would hope. Looks like we see a range damage and then the 3-for-1 disrupt on Sabine's die. So, I mean, the 3-for-1 could be useful, but he definitely doesn't have the money to pay for it. So now it's Gilbert's turn. He's looking to discard. Ooh, no. He plays 1, 2, 3. Okay, so he plays Witch Magic, gets 2 out of the 3. We see a High Ground, Mislead, and Feel Your Anger. Whew, Feel Your Anger is one of those cards that I would not be unhappy if that went away in the next set, because every time I roll blanks and I'm against a blue villain player, it's like, oh no, please don't have Feel Your Anger right now. And of course they always do. All right, so here we go. We were able to get the 2 heal on our Sing. Oh wait, no, Mislead is actually odd as well. I'm sorry. Mislead, I remembered its text, and it says to remove a die showing a character die showing a value of 2 or less. And for some reason I interpreted the 2 in the text as the cost. It's a 1 cost, so he did heal 3 damage on our Sing. Doing awesome. He's back up to half health on eAurra, which is great. So I don't think Mike has lethal at the moment. I think that 2, or no, I think that Sabine is showing a 3. Doesn't look like Gilbert has removal. Maybe he does, or maybe that's a 2. Yep. Okay, so it was lethal. He focused one of the dice with the LL30 just to force Mike to have to remove eAurra from the game before he can discard to reroll again and try to get more damage. It definitely can slow down your opponent if you know they're going to reroll for damage. He reveals a card. We know it's high ground, so he's going to be able to focus one of his dice. I think he focuses... Let's see, what do we got here? We got a couple of blanks, but we did get a focus on Mother Talzin. Definitely one of the LL30 or the Holdout Blaster. Holdout Blaster going to the black side could be good. He's got the money to pay for it. Let's see what he decides to do. Nope, he does go for the modifier. He does believe that he's not going to get all those dice removed. But I think... Ooh... All right, we discard the hyperspace jump, but that's only one of the 2 that he's got in his hand, remember. He rerolls, and he gets the resource. So, Gilbert's feeling pretty good right now. He's got a lot of damage out on the field. He has not taken out a character yet, though, so that could be an issue. If he focuses to the LL30's modified side, then he could be in really good shape. So he does 1 damage to Sabine. Sabine takes a resource. I'm not sure. It's possible that he's looking for a trick of some kind. Sabine did take the resource. He's going to back up muscle. That's why. He back up muscles the second chance. And then if he can get that focus on the LL30 to any of its damage sides, then that means he's going to be able to take out Sabine this round. So he's got a choice to make. The only other issue is if he does focus that to the +2, that means that if Mike has easy pickings, then that's it for Gilbert's possibility to take him out. So he's got to try to figure out what's going on. The problem is if he passes, there's no way that Mike doesn't just pass. So he's got to do something. What is he going to do? He could try to discard to reroll 0, which is not a pass. But he also could just try and just do damage. LL30 does not have a 2 damage side other than the modifier. So now he's going to focus that to the 1. He's going to overwrite for the DL44, which removes the die. That's what he was looking for. That's what he was looking for. He did do the overwrite. But Sabine is sitting only at 1 health. I think, did Gilbert not claim? Oh, ambush action on the X8. He claims as well. So if he can get the second chance out, if he can get another second chance, that is the game. He discards both of the cards left in his hand. Of course, one of those was a Holdout Blaster, which he wants in his discard pile anyway. He has 4 resources to start. He is praying for that second chance to come through in the next 5 cards. That is absolutely for sure. If he can get that second chance, then that means for sure he is going to keep Sabine alive for this next round. He's going to be able to get stuff done. There's the second chance. That's the stuff, man. Oh, yeah. Gilbert, my man. I know exactly how this kind of thing feels. Because the way this feels is it feels like your opponent gets exactly what they need, exactly when they need it. He overwrites the second chance, and Gilbert goes, dang it. How could you? How could you do that? He backup muscles to pop that second chance right off. He does not want to give him anything. Mike got that cool overwrite token. I haven't seen those in person, but I definitely would like to someday. Those things are freaking awesome. a lot of the many content providers are finding new and unique and creative ways to keep track of the things in the game that you have to keep track of: power actions, overwriting, and I do know that that particular overwrite token, that giant overwrite token, comes from the Hyperloops, and is definitely something available. I know the Chance Cube also has tons of their own tokens that they have out, and I definitely recommend that you look into all the different content providers and find something that you like. I absolutely love all the different creative things that you can do with this particular community in Destiny. So here we are at the beginning of the next round. We've got a full health Mother eTalzin with 3 complete upgrades on her. Any one of those could be overwritten for a Relby mortar gun if that ever comes up, just for a single resource. We do see eSabine activating. All right, looks like one of Mike's resources was just turned upside down. It was active. He does have that resource, but some people have been, my understanding is, been keeping track of their resources by flipping tokens or buttons over, and just keeping them out on the field is probably the best to avoid any confusion. So we see 4 damage come through, 5 damage come through onto Mother eTalzin. Mother eTalzin less than half health left, so this definitely made a swing in a particular direction, didn't it? Mike making a great play with that DL44 blaster pistol. So often I forget that it has an ability on it, and that ability is to force your opponent to remove one of their die. So when he focuses that last die, Mike knows, oh, I'm getting away with this, and surviving to the next round. So Mother eTalzin rolling out, getting a whole lot of resources, shields. We see the Feel Your Anger come out on top of the pile. He turns. The LL30s are both showing shields, and then he's got those. Looks like Gilbert's looking through. He's probably looking for the easy pickings, which I would not be surprised that Mike had in his hand at this exact moment. So if he's worried about it, yep, he's worried about it. He turns to the 3 side to avoid the easy pickings. That's definitely something you really need to be aware of when you're playing Destiny against Yellow Hero. Easy pickings is a card that is in every single Yellow Hero deck. It is the staple. You don't get 30 cards in Yellow Hero. You get 28 cards. One of those, and the last 2 cards are easy pickings. So he's able to do the 3 damage to eSabine. Now, eSabine does not have any more second chances that she can pull from. There is very little recursion that they could do. My understanding, if I remember right, the only card that he could have that could bring back that second chance now is Cheat. But I don't think he's running that. So we see the mislead. Oh, now this is interesting. We have an interesting conundrum on the field. So Gilbert attempts to play mislead on Sabine's die, but Sabine's die is showing a 3. So now, if I remember right, I did hear about this particular instance. And so what happens is a judge is called over, and he says, hey, he tried to play this card. He couldn't play that card. So he didn't actually play it. So the guy asks if he paid for the card yet, if he paid for it, and he had not paid for it, and so the judge actually ruled that if he didn't pay for it yet, then he doesn't have to follow through with it. If he had paid for it, then the card just would have 0 effect and would not just wouldn't do anything. But there is a debate there on whether or not that is the correct call. And it's a lively debate, and I encourage you to look into that and see what happens. So because he didn't pay for it, my understanding is that he ended up not having to go through with it. Mike's understandably a little upset because when your opponent makes a mistake, you really want to try to capitalize on that. Whether that mistake be just going after the wrong person, the wrong character, doing the wrong sequence, or in this case, playing a card that he actually can't play. Now, in some cases, what the judge will have them do is actually they still have to play a card because they basically announced that they're going to play a card. And so when you announce that action, you have to follow through on that action. However, I'm not entirely sure that ended up what happened. So he said he was going to play a card, so we're going to see in just a minute what the resolution of this is. So it looks like he also has high ground, which also is not useful in this particular case. So he can't play either one of those cards to remove the die. It definitely looks like he was able to pull that card back into his hand. So he's still they're still debating just a little bit. So in this particular case, now if it was a casual tournament, what they'd probably do is even, I don't know, since casual tournaments don't usually have a top 16 cut, most casual tournaments, if you go to play a card, you can't play the card. In a lot of cases, your opponent will just be like, "Oh, okay, well, you'll have to do something else instead." If you're at the top table at a particular game and you're looking at it and going, "Hey, do I have to? So what do I got to do?" If it were me personally, I would definitely look back on this particular instance and say, "Oh, well, if you can't play it and it's in a tournament, you did say you were going to play a card. You have another card you can play, and if they do, then I'll say, well, you should probably play another card." If they don't have another card they can play, then it's like, I don't know what I would do. But we'll cross that bridge one day when we come to it. If they don't have another card that they can play, in a casual setting, you probably are fine just to pick a different thing to do. Looks like that's what he ends up doing. He discards on the hunt to re-roll. Not sure how Mike's going to feel about that, but, you know, when the judge makes the call, the best thing to do is just to move on and say, you know what? I understand that. I know what it means. I know what we're doing. Mike giving his dice a little bit of encouragement, blowing on his dice maybe, little trick there that doesn't actually affect things, I don't think. But rolls it out and he gets the one shield. He takes the one shield because he knows that if he does, then Gilbert is not going to be able to do enough damage in this round unless he discards to reroll. He could always discard to reroll and get it, but Mike is hanging on to a resource and he's hanging on to eEzra not being exhausted, so there could be another Into the Garbage Chute, but he also could be bluffing the Into the Garbage Chute. He hits the 3 damage that he needs to take out Sabine. What does Mike have in his hand? He has Hyperspace Jump, we know, but we don't know if he has Into the Garbage Chute. Easy Pickings also not helpful in this particular instance. He might be bluffing the Into the Garbage Chute, but Gilbert called his bluff, and we see a knocked out Sabine right now, and Sabine is out of this game. Whew. All right, so we see the holdout blaster going over to eEzra. He does keep the overwrite token out because he has already overwritten, and he wants to make sure he doesn't cheat with eEzra. Now, that could have been the other reason why he hadn't rolled out eEzra yet. He was hoping and praying that Gilbert would knock out Sabine, and then eEzra could actually kill Mother Talzin right now. Holy cow. He could actually do it right now. So we see a 1 range and 2 blanks. So we see you feel your anger. He removes 2 of those. Okay, so eEzra cannot kill Mother Talzin right now. But when I'm looking at this, it's not far-fetched to think that eEzra could kill Mother Talzin here. So Gilbert on the other side, rolling in the dough, having so much of the monies. Mike having also lots of monies. I don't know if he hung on to that hyperspace jump. I'm not sure he did, but it's definitely an option to have that out, especially if you can roll out first, which I think he is going to be able to do. I think he actually did. So he did the 1 damage. I'm just not sure who ended up with control of the battlefield. I think Mike still ended up with control of the battlefield. So Mike going through his discard pile. He pulls the Hidden Blaster to the top. Is he bluffing a Sabine activation? I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. Oh, you're way too serious about this. If you've listened into this far, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You're amazing. Stay tuned. We're going to keep going on this thing. We are going to get this stuff knocked out of the park. So, if you're Mike, you're sitting there looking, you've got eEzra, he's got the stuff, he can do things. You're really hoping to not see those blanks again because you feel your anger. There's Mislead, which can hit every side of eEzra's die. There's Electroshock, for crying out loud, could be a potential. But let's see what Mike decides to do. He rolls in eEzra. He decides to see exactly what kind of removal that Gilbert has. He does feel your anger on one of the dice. Now, at this point, eEzra cannot kill Mother Talzin, or can he? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope, we've got 4 damage left. So it looks like Mike did not do the damage on the holdout blaster last round. He decided to claim to try to go first because he really wanted to be able to do that. We see Mother Talzin roll out. Holy cow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. Oh man, that is an almost dead Ezra, and we see the subdue come out, so he gets to turn one of his dice. However, we know Mike's got that easy pickings coming up, and there it is in his hand. He can absolutely do it. I think you just bait it. I think you do. But I think you turn to the 1. I think you turn to the 1, so you can leave that 2 out. And I think he did. Look at that. Hey, I'm starting to learn this game. Oh, the DL44 to remove one of the dice. Oh my gosh. Oh, all the removal in the world in the ambush action. He hyperspace jumps. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Yeah, that was a pretty good, that was a massive roll that Gilbert was able to get. And the hyperspace jump, definitely not a bad play. He gets the 3 resources every round, so you know what? He's not worried about it. He still maintains control of the battlefield. Oh, he switched the battlefield, I think. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I'm so sorry if I missed that earlier. But, yeah, we are now on the Frozen Wastes. Sorry, guys. We left the Outer Rim Outpost, which kind of makes me sad. I don't like leaving the Outer Rim Outpost. It's a good place. You should go. All right, so we get another Ezra activation. We do have the DL44 on there now. DL44 getting a resource. We get a disrupt on Ezra, and then 1 range and a +2 range. And then we see the mislead on the 1 range side. Discard the entangle. Ooh, painful. We get 2 blanks and a shield, it looks like, on the holdout blaster. Ooh, Mother eTalzin rolling in. Getting, looks like a modifier. Nope, it's a 1 shield on the holdout blaster, I think. It's either the shield or the resource. Then we get a 1 range, a blank, a discard, and a resource on the rest of Gilbert's dice. Not as good of a roll this time. We do know that the second hyperspace jump was, I think, discarded, but not used. And so he's going to set that aside and let him know that, the 1 was in there and used. But so if you can see right at the top, right by the scrolling, he actually adjusted the hyperspace jump sideways to let him know that it's been used, because hyperspace jump can only be used once per card per game. You cannot recur it with things like Rebel or the special on the Millennium Falcon, which was the original offender of the hyper loops, where he gets his name from. Mike, oh, we keep playing hyperspace jump still like it's a good card. That's because it is, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to tell you, but hyperspace jump is still a rockin' good card, as we just saw it in action. Ezra rolls out. 1 of the dice fell out of his hand. He re-rolls it. He gets the 2 for 1 and the 1. He can pay for it. That's 3 more damage on Mother eTalzin. Mother eTalzin would be down to a single health point left. I do know that we saw the armor plating come through. I don't know if we've got another witch magic somewhere. He looks like he's going to overwrite possibly for the Force Illusion. Let's see what he does. If I were to rewrite one of those, it would definitely be one of the LL30s. Yep. All right. So we see the overwrite. He turns his die upside down just because he doesn't have one of those cool fancy tokens, and that is a great way to keep track of it. All right. So we see Loth, Cat, and Mouse. All right. Oh, nope. We see the damage come through. Yep. See the damage come through. He Force Illusions every bit of it. 3 damage. Or I think he can only do 2 of the damage as a Force Illusion. So it looks like he's getting ready to discard to reroll. He discards the subdue. He does not have the damage on Ezra yet. There's still 0 damage on Ezra. Ezra is doing some work here, my friends. Ooh, we know that there's easy pickings. And Mike had it right there on top of his face-down cards, all ready to go if he got that damage. So he does the 1 damage to Ezra, and then claims. Mike claims. Oh, my goodness. Oh. Whew, man. Just when I thought that this deck was definitely going Gilbert's way, Mike doing work, playing his deck like the pro that he is. All right, starting the next round with 4 resources. Whew. This is a heck of a game, my friends. This is massive. All right. Mike playing out. Ooh, what do we got? X8 Sniper with ambush, so he's able to roll out Ezra. Ezra has 6 health left. Mother eTalzin has 3. All he has to do is roll enough damage that Gilbert cannot remove it. Let's see what he gets. looks like it might be good. It's not that good. I'll say, okay, so we got a couple of blanks, we got a resource, a disrupt, and a shield. Not what Mike was hoping for, but Gilbert could also be shooting some blanks over there. Let's see what he ends up doing. Oh yeah, we got one blank. And then we get some range. We got 1 range, 2 range, a shield, I think, and a blank. So the 3 damage could definitely go through, but we're going to hasty exit to remove the 2. Man, just all the removal from Mike just coming out. Wow, that's so much removal. He has been able to remove at least 1 die of his opponents every single round, and this is not a quick game, ladies and gentlemen. This game is going for a while. He does have to discard the Relby V10 mortar gun. He does get the 1 and a +2, so he's going to be able to do 3 more damage to eEzra. eEzra only having 7 health, but being able to stay in this game for a long time. It is not lethal on eEzra, and eEzra could absolutely end up with lethal on Mother Talzin this round. Let's see. I think I saw another mislead in there, so let's see what he does. Mike rolling his dice out. He's going to keep the holdout blaster that time. Oh, no, he's going to re-roll it. Re-rolls it into the blank. Looks like we've got some damage there. I think we see 1, 2 damage, and then we see a resource, a disrupt, and a blank. If you're Mike, you might want to just take the damage that you've got. You only have 1 other modifier side on the holdout blasters. Oh, you know, I am wrong on that. The DL44 also has a +2 modifier, and oh yeah, there are modifiers. Never mind. Every single one of those dice have a modifier. Whew. Oh man, this is an intense game, you guys. All right, so it's Gilbert's turn to move. Mike is sitting there hoping that he can't remove too much. I do see Frighten in there. I do see armor plating. Armor plating might be the way to go here. Armor plating being able to give your character some defensive capabilities as well. Let's see what he decides to do. Ooh, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. I'm watching him like a hawk. I'm like looking at every single movement. This is how his hands move. He discards to re-roll. He gets the shield on the LL30. LL30 has 50% damage side. You're supposed to hit those, guys. You're supposed to hit those. Just so anybody knows, armor plating is a single cost. Before attached character takes damage, you may block up to 2 damage, then discard this upgrade. It's like a mini Force Illusion, but you don't have to discard cards. Mini Force Illusion because Force Illusion can... usually you can count on Force Illusion blocking anywhere from 1 to 3 damage pretty normally. Alright, so there we go. We've got that. We're going to do the 3 for 1, and he's going to block 2 of that and only take the 1. Then he's going to do the second one. So Mother Talzin at 1 health has 3 damage sitting on eEzra. He's going to take the 3 damage. He's just going to take it. He could try to discard and go for lethal, but there's always the possibility that Mike could have a Lothcat or something to be able to get rid of that one of those base damage and keep eEzra alive again. So eEzra down to 2 health, Mother Talzin down to 1. This is a showdown, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Mike discards to reroll. What do we got? A resource and a shield. Those holdout blasters are loving the shields tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This is turning into a shield on the holdout blaster night. Okay, so Gilbert's deciding what to do. He could try to discard to reroll, but I wonder if claiming and removing eEzra's die is the best way to go. Oh, but he can't now. Mike kind of seeing ahead on that one, removing eEzra's die so that Frozen Waste cannot remove it for him. He does still have the 1 shield, and then he could still discard and re-roll into the money. He took that shield, or he took the resource, which means he can pay for both the DL44 and holdout blasters base side that take resources if he hits those. But honestly, he only has to hit a single damage on either one of those dice. I do believe he's only got one more that he can do. So we see the shield come onto Mother Talzin. He just needs to hit a 2 or 3, a 2 or 3, or the 1 and the 2. We see the 3 for 1, and that is game. That is the game. Congratulations to Mike for hitting that thing. That was amazing. That was fantastic. All right, so let's see. I believe that we still got another game here. Yep, we've still got round 2 to go.
It's all good, man. It's just like, I think
Judging at how much time there is left, I'm going to go ahead and say that we could probably be seeing that Mike is going to come out on top of this. And for anybody who is known, who knows the whole setup of the rest of the championship, you may already know who wins and who loses. But for any of you who are not familiar with this, yeah, let's keep going on this. Absolutely. I know that this next game was really fun for everybody who was involved. So, Sabine eEzra, Mike just having so much removal and knowing exactly when to play it and how to play it, using the DL44s extremely well throughout the game to be able to keep his characters alive just that little bit extra to be able to do that much damage. But Mother eTalzin being able to finish off Sabine and then get eEzra down to only 2 health left. It was so close. Mike just getting his cards exactly when he needed them. If that second chance had been at the bottom of his deck, there is no way that Sabine would have been able to survive as long as she did. Absolutely no way. She would have been knocked out in the beginning of the next round with a backup muscle for sure. So we see Mike getting set up again. Gilbert now gets the chance to pick which battlefield he is going to go with. He did go with that before, and looks like he's choosing that again. He's got the shields back on Arsing. Arsing at 12 health, Mother eTalzin at 9. Interestingly, both of these decks have very low health. We've got 19 on the villain side and only 18 on the Sabine eEzra side. 18 health, ladies and gentlemen, but you know what? Limited health is extremely hard to get through when you're going through second chances and how much removal Yellow Hero has. It's pretty awesome. Now, on the other side of the board with the villains still get access to a lot of the cards that make villains great, make blue great, make yellow great. So there's a reason why we see a lot of blue and yellow at this competition. Not a lot of red being represented here, unfortunately. I personally love running red. I like all the guns. I like all the fun different shenanigans I used to be able to do. Of course, Red Hero really took a dive when they added It's a Trap, and then they added Heat of Battle, which was also one of my big Red Hero cards. I had a K2SO Wookiee deck that ran both of those red cards, and then they both got errated in one fell swoop, and I was like, oh, well, that's not nice. But you know what? It is better for the game, and I totally understand that. Just like I'd understand if Sabine were to go up a point or two.
how's Joe doing?
Just saying. Now, how much should Sabine go up? I think if she went up 1 to 21 health, you still could get a 9 cost character on the other side of the board. You could go Elite Jar Jar still. Right? Sabine Jar Jar. Everybody cool with that? Everybody like that idea? No? No, you guys are just haters. I'm just kidding. Jar Jar has actually been doing well in very particular decks. I know in mill decks he does pretty good. Even in some vehicle decks, being able to roll and hit that indirect side. And so all your indirect is safe, and anything that's not showing indirect, being able to get re-rolled. I just say the indirect because a lot of vehicle decks run plenty of indirect damage sides. The Ayla Rose combination with Jar Jar I've seen, or with eEzra, either way. But then, of course, I think the popular one that was here at the World Championship at Worlds was the Yoda eEzra Rookie Pilot. Elite Yoda, Elite eEzra, and the Rookie Pilot, just trying to make tons of money and doing some wicked stuff. Mike's friend Joe, honestly sarcastic, was running that particular vehicle deck, so... and I know he did quite well in this particular tournament. So we see Mike roll out. He rules out eEzra. He gets a Disrupt and a Resource. We see the Hold Up Blaster go back on Arsing. This seems familiar. And we get it rolled out. And boom. We do not have the fast hands, though, so we are going to be susceptible to some removal from Mike, if he has it. I think I see a Disrupt and a 2 range and a 1 range. So we've got 3. Oh, we see Truce. Yep. Man, he was playing that thing slow. He's like, I don't know if I want to say it. Interestingly enough, the ruling that we had talked about earlier, if he had played a card that was a 0 cost, I think he might have had to finish playing it. So that's something else to think about. So we see the negotiate. He removes, or no, the hasty exit to remove one of the Sabine dice. Ooh, this is... So we see the dice being removed, being taken. We did see the DL44 going out to avoid the... yeah, to get rid of the disrupt. Alright, so he's going to take a resource. We're going to pay the 1 for backup muscle. He gets get that extra 3 damage out there. Backup muscle, just a really good card. Unfortunately, if I were to say anything, I would say it's a little slow. But if I were to say more, I would say it was really good. Oh my goodness, we have the DL44 onto Sabine. Getting rolled to its 3 damage side. And then a couple of resources on Sabine. Whew. Or a resource and a shield. Nope. Yep. Resource and a shield on Sabine, but they got the 3 range and then another disrupt. These are not bad sides that Mike has got showing, especially in this particular case. We did see the reveal of the witch magic, so Mother Talzin being able to get the discard and the 2 range. So we're going to see some damage coming through, just not a whole lot at the beginning of this round. Mike deciding what to do. He might just take the 3. Yep, he's going to take the 3, and he's going to change targets. He decides to go after Mother Talzin this time. Mother Talzin being the dice fixer, and was definitely, her ability kept Gilbert in the game a very long time, being able to go up against eEzra really well. So switching to go after Mother Talzin, if he can get a couple more 3s, that's gonna be a gone Talzin right there. And we get it. Oh my goodness! Look at those dice. Oh, and that is damage for days, ladies and gentlemen. I think that is a dead Mother Talzin. So he's gonna use the discard side, I believe. Yep. He's got no more money, so he's gonna use the discard side, and Mother Talzin gets the lethal dose of range damage. Yep. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Were both of those 2s? They were. Oh, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like the Mother Talzin... it looks like Sabine rolled both of her 2 sides. Oh, I could have sworn those are 3. My bad. So Mother Talzin's still alive for the next round. But unfortunately, Mike is going to get to go first. He's got the holdout blaster down below. We see him counting out his cards, getting ready for the next round. Everybody's getting prepped. Gilbert definitely, I'm sure, feels like that Mother Talzin probably isn't going to stick around long because Mike can start this round by doing the Sabine things. I mean, it's not bad if you can get eEzra out there. I mean, if eEzra can roll the 1 range damage and knock Mother Talzin out, that wouldn't be too bad. But I think Mike might... Yep, Mike is looking for that unmitigatable damage. Unmitigatable damage. Is it unmitigatable or unmitigated? Never mind. All right, so we see the Sabine roll out, and what does he got? He rolls... Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Sabine doing Sabine things. Rolling damage for days. Woo! So we see the Mother Talzin knocked out, and then we see another 6 going on to eAurra Sing. Yep, those are the things. Those are the things, you guys. Unfortunately, if Gilbert's running any spot blue character stuff, he is not going to be able to get that out. Unfortunately. So I'm sure he might be looking for some... Oh, he does the witch magic. Let's see what he gets. We see the fast hands at 0, Relby at 3, and the subdue at 1. So he's going to be able to heal 2 off of eAurra Sing. So eAurra Sing with just 2 damage on her now. Unfortunately, being down Mother Talzin this early in the game, Sabine really came out to play this round. Let's see how eEzra does. eEzra also going to do his little pew-pew, and then... he's got a disrupt as well, so he could do a little bit of removal of removal. I definitely do see the 1/4 portion over in Gilbert's hand. We see the fast hands go on to eAurra Sing. He wants that damage to be able to get out and do the mini Sabine things with the fast hands. One trick that I did see in a particular game was somebody who was running fast hands with Maz's goggles on Sabine. So they would roll out and hope to get the Maz's goggles special, or sorry, not the special, but the focus sides, and then be able to focus Sabine with the fast hands, and then use the ambush action to be able to do the damage. It was cool, but it did not do nearly as much damage as we've seen that Sabine can do. Just with a couple of extra blasters on her. So we saw her roll out and do 7, and the Sabine goggles fast hands really has a max of 3. Or, sorry, 6. Has a max of 6 damage that it can do. And we see the Vandalize come out and get rid of the fast hands. Wow, Vandalize is such a good card to be able to remove a support or an upgrade from play that costs equal to or equal to the amount of dice that you removed, I think. I don't think it's equal to or less. That'd be weird to remove more than you need to. But we see eAurra roll out. Does not get what he's looking for. He gets a couple of disrupts. And he easy pickings the disrupt, so we're left with a +2 modifier. Just not looking super hot over there. We see the backup muscle go on to Sabine. This game definitely struggling a little bit more. Sabine being able to roll out those dice and just hit that damage without Gilbert being able to respond is just super powerful. And then Mike, even if Sabine doesn't get what he wants, he got the answers to whatever else ails him. We see the running interference on Sabine, or sorry, not on Sabine. We see the running interference play as a support. We mislead one of the damage. Looks like Mike decides to just claim. He takes a card and a resource. Being able to take that card, just mill through his deck a little bit more to dig for what he's looking for. And sure enough, he does discard a holdout blaster, so he's going to start the round with just 2 resources, no Maz's Vault yet. And being able to play that holdout blaster, he's even got the money to pay for it if it happens to roll the pay side, or if the DL44 rolls the pay side. But if they all roll pay sides, we're going to struggle here, unless he overwrites. He could technically overwrite the holdout, which he does. Okay, so he decides to overwrite the holdout for holdout. He keeps the holdout die. I think he likes that one. It's rolled well for him in the past. And we see one of the dice jumps out of the pool, and we see a couple of blanks. We see a 2 or 3 range. I just can't see it. And he never tell me the odds to turn, and he takes the game. Congratulations, Mike. Moving on to the next round. Congratulations, Gilbert, for coming this far. Looks like we did see down here in the left-hand corner some of the bracket moving on. Brandon DeVitt is fighting against Honestly Sarcastic with that drive-by shooting deck, if you want to look that up. It was coined that. It's a vehicle and gun deck. So thank you so much for checking it out. We'll catch you guys in the next video for the Chance Cube coverage of Worlds 2018.